What's up, boys? I've got a couple questions in the past, mainly from friends, relatives, loved ones, people that are moving, as I've been in the security space for almost a decade at this point. I get mainly questions about IT, phone, computer-related security questions, but I've been intimately fascinated with security in general pretty much my entire life. In my home defense weapons selection video, I said home defense is not purchasing whatever products or a listicle of firearms that show up when you Google best home defense weapons. It's not only a mindset, but it is an onion. There are layers to unpack. There are layers that keep you safe. So if you are not properly setting up your layers, a firearm is going to do nothing. Same thing with carrying a firearm. If you do not train and you don't adequately understand how to employ that firearm, you might as well have a brick. And I meant it. It is much more than just picking a firearm. It is more than just the gun. The pistol is not a panacea. It is not the this device solves all problems situation. So in part one, I want to go over mainly it's very common practice for listicles or articles to have things like the 3Ds, the 5Ds of home defense. And the main reason why these videos, the main reason why these articles have these types of content is not only because it's extremely digestible, it's easy information to impart, but it kind of boils down to it's known good information. If someone's trying to say, get Simply Safe or get blank security and you'll be A-okay, well, it might be disingenuous. I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying it isn't. I'm not going to recommend any specific brands unless I've had personal interaction or have used them in the past. When I do talk about security cameras, I will briefly mention my experience with 3 different pretty popular brands. However, that is no way an endorsement, nor are they sponsored in any way, shape, or form. Just my personal unbiased experience. The 3Ds: deter, detect, and delay response, or delayed response. So what would a deterrence be? Well, deterrence is making somebody think twice about doing something, making somebody think that is a hardened target. I know that Jocko has spoke about it a few times. There have been studies in which criminals or people who would rob individuals, they were asked what makes a person look as though they are a bad target to pickpocket, mug, rob, attempt to abduct. Essentially, the reason that they would choose to or not choose to victimize or attack or rob or etc. somebody is because they looked presentable and aware, and they had an organized, that's what it was, organized fashion. So if your home does not look organized or you look disorganized, then you're already making yourself a target. So deterrence would be, there are multiple different ways that you could go about this. There's motion activated cameras, having fences or gates installed that are properly locked. That might be extremely expensive. I know just making the suggestion, get a privacy fence or get gates, is not, even if you live in a condo, maybe an apartment or something that doesn't allow that. Many homes in many places have homeowners associations. There's rules against or for how you can construct gates and barriers around your home. However, these are still deterrents. Most home break-ins occur during the day. If I'm not mistaken, it's upwards of 50 to 60% happen during the day and are gained access through one of 3 major areas: first story windows, first story doors, usually your front or back door, and your garage. So deterring access to those places using proper locks, fencing, and motion activated lights at night. You could use security cameras that have motion activation as well that notify you to your phone. You can have signage, big dog's gonna bite, beware of dog. I wouldn't hang anything gaudy like trespassers will be shot, survivors will be shot again, stuff like that. That's kind of not really what a responsible, well-armed, forward-thinking person should put on their property. However, it is your property and you can do with your property as you please. So, dogs are very good. deterrent as well, and they kind of also bleed into the detection portion, but we'll get to that in a moment. So deterrents are outward facing, public facing things like this home is protected by XYZ security or motion activated lights and cameras, things that can be seen from the street that would make somebody think twice about choosing your home or thinking twice about breaking and entering. Detection, again, many of these serve dual roles, but it is a buildup. You cannot have one without the other, or you can, but you're compounding factors. If you're not given the time to react to a situation, then it will become infinitely more difficult in the future, or in the instance that somebody does break in. You need to build yourself time. When seconds count, police and EMTs and emergency responders are minutes away. So for detection, you can have a home security system, whether it be an actual alarm system, a camera system that alerts you via your cell phone or tablet or some other device, maybe your computer. I know Roku is offering some Wise cameras that are rebranded under the Roku banner, but with the Roku app, you can use a Roku branded TV as a security monitor. So that's kind of cool. If you want to have a dedicated security system, you could do something like that for very, very cheap. $100 for your TV, $25 to $30 per camera. It is an option. On top of cameras, lighting, and other things for detection, you could also have a dog. Are dogs going to be viable in all instances? Probably not. Is a small dog that barks at everything going to give you a bunch of false positives? Probably. And if you're getting to the point where your dog is always barking rather, and you're never acknowledging it, well, then maybe in the instance where there is real danger, you might just kind of drown it out. So if your dog responds in an aggressive manner, treat it as a real situation until you can verify that it's not. Don't try and punish that behavior unless it's doing it just because there's a slight rustle at 2 a.m. waking you up. For detection, there's also things like glass break sensors. There's many of these. I might be scrolling just a commercial listing on Amazon of them. There's so many of these products, and they've gotten, maybe not cheap, the price for a home security system in the mid 80s and 90s was so just prohibitively expensive. I'm talking thousands of dollars. Even into the early 90s, having an alarm system installed was hundreds and hundreds of dollars, let alone it required phone line, a dedicated, landline. You didn't have camera access, you didn't have intercom access. A lot of these, like a ring doorbell or something that replaces, if you live in an apartment, maybe a knocker on your door. They're so cheap. There are so many of them. And yes, there's been some companies like Anchor's sub-company, I believe it's Eufy. Yes, Eufy. Recently, I want to say about 9 months to a year ago, got into some hot water over pictures that were supposed to be stored locally were actually transferred to the cloud, and it was a whole thing. So vet your equipment properly. Personally, I've used Blink cameras, Wise cameras, the V3s, that is what I'm currently using, and the Roku cams. However, I don't have any bias towards one or the other. I think most of them include a subscription model. I like something that I can have connected to a Wi-Fi system that I can view in real time but stores locally. The Wise cameras have slightly worse picture quality than the Blink cameras, but they're both relatively inexpensive, notify you in a prompt manner, and have different capacities for offline or the non-subscription based models where you can stick an SD card in there and still have good functionality. That being said, again, I'm not going to make any recommendations because I don't have long-term information on most of these products. I've just used a number of them. I've installed them for friends and family. I've set them up on their networks, and they work quite well if properly installed, adjusted, and maintained. If you're using wireless cameras, please check your batteries. It's the same adage. Having a $2,000, multi-$1,000 lock on your door is pointless if you never lock your door. Same thing with cameras. If they're wireless cameras, charge your batteries, check your equipment, validate your equipment. So glass break sensors, things of this nature are for detection. And delaying response, the third of the 3Ds. Delaying a response essentially is mitigating an intruder from reaching you, your loved ones, or your valuables as long as possible. This can include hardening your doors, i.e. putting a 3-inch deck screw in your kick plate on your door. I don't know if you're aware, but most doors with a little bit of force, most doors will pop open even if they're locked. You could have quality locks in your doors. If there's a 1/2 inch mounting hardware holding that lock plate to the door where there's 1 inch of wood, your door is going to pop right open. Hardening your entry points, such as using those 3-inch deck screws on the kick plates, putting glass break sensors, or even maybe a 3M shatterproof film on sliding doors, anything with an Adams right lock. So most glass sliding doors have the same type of locking mechanism, and while you may put a shatter resistant film on it or put a broom handle in it to keep it from being jimmied open, a little bit of googling, you can get a tool. I have one, I'm not going to go and grab it. You can get a tool that will open most sliding glass doors for relatively, I think it's $15. So being aware of your entry points. For the garage door particularly, there's a small latch. It is, everybody's probably seen it. You walk into a garage, that little red rope that's hanging down from the chain. If you pull that, it allows you to slide the door up and off. It unlocks the track essentially so that you can slide the door up manually if you were to lose power. Well, with a coat hanger, you can fish it up through the weather seal, pop that, and then boom, you're in your garage in 30 seconds, 60 seconds. It's very easy to do. I don't want to propagate more video of it, but I could show you guys that in maybe a future video. So zip tying that up so that only you can access it from inside of your garage, and locking your garage door that leads directly into your home. That's another issue. A lot of people leave their garage door open. So, using quality deadlocks, having quality doors, not these hollow core doors, having safes and proper fire rated storage methods for your firearms that are quickly accessible, and so that if in the instance that somebody gets in, they can't just grab your stuff. Making secondary and tertiary hard copies and cloud backups of all of your data and putting that either off-site or, on the internet, however you choose to store it. Just make sure your valuables, if they get taken or stolen or destroyed in a fire, that you have backups. So all of these methods create that, as I said, onion of security. So I know this was kind of just a suggestions. I didn't really show a lot of video of me doing it. If you guys would like to see something like that, I would absolutely love to show you that. Maybe I can, bug a friend with a garage to let me jimmy his garage door open just for showing it off. I'll absolutely do a part 2 where I go to a physical site and show some of these upgrades. I just wanted to give some of my tips and tricks for hardening a structure, your home, your apartment, your condo, etc. I do want to go into vehicle stuff at some point as well. How to properly make your vehicle less of a target, how to properly store firearms in your vehicle, what you should have in your vehicle. I've already done a part 1 of that, but I want to do a part 2. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for part 1 in today's video. If you guys want to get a hold of me directly, I have an Instagram. It is right here on screen and in the description below. If you liked the video, go ahead and like it. If you disliked it, you can hit that too. If you want to comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell, you can do what you want. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You're a grown-ass man, you can do what you want. But that's pretty much it for today's video, guys. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.